So dear students, as you know already, I covered 4 chapters concerned with the first unit. In reproduction, we have come across 4 chapters. Followed by that, under biotechnology, I covered 2 chapters. Lastly, I entered into ecology. It is having 4 chapters. But COVID-19 has reduced 2 chapters. One is ecosystem and another one is environmental issue. COVID-19 has even affected your syllabus also. It has reduced 2 chapters. One is ecosystem and another one is environmental issues. Concerned with ecology, I covered organisms and population. Previous videos we have come across organisms and populations. So today I plan to switch over to last chapter, biodiversity and conservation. So today I plan to introduce biodiversity and conservation. First question arises, what is this biodiversity? Biodiversity is a short form of biological diversity. Biodiversity is a short form of biological diversity. Biodiversity is a short form of biological diversity. It is a collection of varieties of is a collection of varieties of all forms of life. Biodiversity is a short form of biological diversity. Biodiversity is a collection of varieties of all forms of life. Biodiversity is a collection of varieties of all forms of life. Already first year we have come across collection of varieties of all forms of life. It includes the entire plant kingdom, animal kingdom, 5 kingdom classification we have come across, where we have noticed a collection of varieties of all forms of life. Okay. A normal man or an ordinary man would hard to believe that an ordinary man or a normal man, or you can call it as a non-biologist, would hard it to find believe that there are about 20,000 species of about 20,000 species of ants are there. There are about 20,000 species of orchids are there. 28,000 species of fishes are there, and more than 3 lakh species of beetles are there. So, dear students, biodiversity is a collection of varieties of all forms of life. A normal man or an ordinary man, hard to believe that a normal man would find it hard to believe that there are about 20,000 species of ants are there, 20,000 species of orchids are there, 28,000 species of fishes are there, 3 lakh beetles are there. Now I have remembered 2 important points for CT purpose. The term biodiversity was coined by Rosen in the year 1985. The term biodiversity was coined by W.G. Rosen in the year 1985. But the term biodiversity was popularized after a symposium conducted in the year 1986, and it was developed by Edward will sink. For me to purpose, you have to take care of these 2 points. The term biodiversity was coined by Rosen in the year 1985, but the biodiversity was more popular after conducting a symposium in the year 1986, and it was developed by Edward Wilson. It was developed by Edward Wilson. So that ends introduction to biodiversity. Please remember, biodiversity is a short form of biological diversity. Biodiversity is a collection of varieties of all forms of life. Biodiversity is a collection of varieties of all forms of life. The term biodiversity was coined by Rosen in the year 1985, but it was popularized, or the concept of biodiversity was popularized after conducting a symposium in the year 1986, and it was developed by Edward Wilson. A normal man or a non-biologist hard to believe that there are about 20,000 species of ants are there, 20,000 species of orchids are there, 28,000 species of fishes are there, and 3 lakh beetles are there. Next is levels of biodiversity. Levels of biodiversity. There are 3 levels are there. Genetic diversity, second, species diversity, and third is ecosystem diversity. Levels of biodiversity. There are 3 levels of biodiversity. Genetic diversity, second is species diversity, third is ecosystem diversity. First look over ecosystem diversity, then I will introduce species diversity, followed by that you are going to study genetic diversity. Very simple meaning. Look over the name carefully, you will get an idea. Ecosystem diversity or ecosystem diversity refers to diversity in ecosystem. Ecosystem diversity refers to diversity in ecosystem. The question arises, what is this? Ecosystem. The name ecosystem is derived from Greek. Eco means environment. System means interacting, interdependent, complex. So we cover 3 levels of diversities: genetic diversity, species diversity, ecosystem diversity. The name ecosystem is derived from Greek. Eco means environment, system means interacting, interdependent, complex. Interacting, interdependent, complex. I will provide you 2 definitions or 3 definitions, out of which you have to select any one which is convenient for you. Any unit of space, any unit of space in which both biotic and abiotic factors, any unit of space in which both biotic and abiotic factor interact in such a way that the flow of energy is maintained. First definition. The name ecosystem is derived from Greek. Eco means environment, system means interacting, interdependent, complex. Definition number 1. Any unit of space in which both biotic and abiotic factor interact in such a way that the flow of energy is maintained. You know already the difference between biotic and abiotic. Biotic means means living one, abiotic means non-living. Abiotic are further classified into three types: inorganic, organic, and physical. And biotic, already many examples we have come across: predators, competitors, okay, predators, competitors, commensalism, like this. Many more things we have come across in my previous chapter: organisms and population. Okay, definition number 1. Next, definition number 2. All the communities of plants and animals of an area, all the communities of plants and animals of an area, together with abiotic factors, constitute ecosystem. All the communities of plants and animals of an area, together with abiotic factor, constitute ecosystem. Or third definition, it is the functional unit of biosphere. It is the functional unit of biosphere. I hope that this word will come across even in your lower classes also. Biosphere is the part of the earth and its atmosphere which is inhabited by the living organism. Biosphere is the part of the earth and its atmosphere which is inhabited by the living organism. So now I covered three definitions of ecosystem. This chapter is omitted up to 2020. Okay, for this year they are omitted. So even though if you want you can remember, otherwise omit it. Any unit of space in which both the biotic and abiotic factor interact in such a way that the flow of energy is maintained, or all the communities of plants and animals of an area together with abiotic factor constitute ecosystem. Third, it is the functional unit of biosphere. Ecosystem is the functional unit of biosphere. It is the part of the earth and its atmosphere which is inhabited by the living organism. Now back to definition of ecosystem diversity. It refers to diversity in ecosystem. It refers to diversity in ecosystem. I'll provide you one beautiful example. India is having great ecosystem diversity. India is having great ecosystem diversity when comparing with Scandinavian countries like Norway. So India is having great ecosystem diversity. India is having great ecosystem diversity when comparing with Scandinavian countries like Norway, European countries. Actually, it includes Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. Denmark is there, Norway, etc. India is having desert ecosystem, rainforest ecosystem, wetland ecosystem, coral reef ecosystem, alpine meadows ecosystem, etc. Look over second type, species diversity. So look over there carefully, you will get an idea. It refers to diversity in species. Species diversity. It refers to diversity in species. Many times already I put forward definition of species. Species is the basic unit of classification. Species is the basic unit of classification, and the word species is applied to a distinct kind of organism where all the members are similar and they can interbreed each other to produce and fertile offspring. Species is the basic unit of classification, and the word species is applied to a distinct kind of organism where all the members are similar and they can interbreed each other to produce and fertile offspring. Coordinate carefully. It refers to diversity in species. I'll provide one example. Western Ghats is having more amphibian species diversity when comparing with Eastern Ghats. Western Ghats have more amphibian species diversity when comparing with the Eastern Ghats. You know, amphibians dual nature. They have got the capacity to survive both on the land and in water. They will survive both on the land and in water. Under that example is Rana tigrina, or you can remember frog as an example. Diversity in species is called as species diversity, or it refers to diversity in species. Western Ghat has more amphibian species diversity or greater amphibian species diversity when comparing with Eastern Ghats. Okay, amphibians will survive both on the land and in water. Next, genetic diversity. Look about genetic diversity. It refers to variation of genes within a species, or genetic diversity is caused due to variation of genes within a species. Variation of genes within a species. You know already variation and genes. Gene is the fundamental unit of heredity. Gene is the fundamental unit of heredity associated with a particular character. Gene is the fundamental unit of heredity associated with a particular character. Variation is nothing but changes. Genetic diversity is caused due to variation of genes within a species. Back to first chapter, reproduction in organism. Back to first chapter, reproduction in organism. Where I come across this point, reproduction are of two types: asexual and sexual. The individual which are produced through asexual reproduction, the individual which are produced through asexual reproduction is almost identical to their parents. Hence the term clone is used to describe such an individuals which are morphologically and genetically similar. But in that chapter we have come across very important matter. Sexually reproducing organism will play a significant role in variations. That is the raw material for the origin of new species, or you can call it as a speciation. So sexually reproducing organism will play a significant role to bring variation. That variation is the raw material for the origin of new species. Indirectly, I covered significance of genetic diversity. Indirectly, I covered significance of genetic diversity. Now, directly, I remember number one. It is essential for adaptation to the new environment. Genetic diversity is essential for adaptation. Already this term adaptation we have come across in my previous chapter. Morphological, physiological, behavioral changes. Morphological, physiological, behavioral changes developed in an organism over a long period of time to adjust themselves with the specific environment is called as adaptation. So genetic diversity helps to develop adaptations, and it will play a significant role in the origin of new species, or you can call it as a speciation. And says example for genetic diversity. So three examples were quoted for your syllabus. So number you have to take care. There are about 50,000 genetically different strains of rice are there in India. There are about 50,000 genetically different strains of rice are there in India. There are about 1,000 varieties of mangoes are there in India. There are about 1,000 varieties of mangoes are there in India. Same way, one more example you have to take care. Ravelfia. Ravelfia omitoria, growing in the different regions of Himalaya. Ravelfia omitoria, growing in the different regions of Himalaya, will show variation in the concentration, and potency concerned with the chemical known as reserve point. So I will repeat the genetic diversity once again. Take care. So genetic diversity is caused due to variation of genes within a species. Variation of genes within a species. So three examples are there. There are about 50,000 genetically different strains of rice are there in India. There are about 1,000 varieties of mangoes are there in India. Ravelfia omitoria, which is growing in the different regions of the Himalaya, will show variation in the concentration and potency concerned with a chemical known as reserve point. Ravelfia omitoria, growing in the different regions of the Himalaya, will show variation concerned with the concentration and potency of a chemical known as reserve point. That is mainly due to genetic diversity. And I requested you to remember one more point: sexual reproduction will play a significant role in genetic diversity that helps in the adaptation and even the origin of new species or speciation. That ends three levels of biodiversities: genetic diversity, species diversity, and ecosystem diversity. Okay, now look over, dear students, how many species of plants and animals are there on the earth and how many species of plants and animals are there in India. Okay, according to International Union for the Conservation of the Nature and Natural Resources 2004 report, according to International Union for the Conservation of the Nature and Natural Resources 2004, the plants and animal species so far described is slightly more than 1.5 millions. Now look over how many species of plants and animals are there on the earth. And even later we are going to study how many species of plants and animals are there in India also. According to International Union for the Conservation of the Nature and Natural Resources, according to International Union for the Conservation of the Nature and Natural Resources 2004, the plants and animal species so far described is slightly more than 1.5 millions. But according to conservation and the scientific study, according to conservation and scientific study made by Robert May, global species diversity is 7 millions. According to IUCN, the plants and animal species so far described is slightly more than 1.5 millions. But according to conservation and the scientific study made by Robert May, global species diversity is 7 millions. Among this, 70% are animals and 22% are plants. 70% are animals and 22% are plants. That plants includes algae, fungi, bryophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms, etc. It includes 70% of animals, 22% of plants. That plant community includes algae, fungi, bryophytes, gymnosperm and angiosperms. Out of this animal or among the animals, 70% are insects. Among the animals, 70% are insects. Among the animals, 70% are insects. That is, out of 6 it is an average, on an average, out of 10 animal group, 7 are insects. Out of 10 animal group, 7 are insects. Out of 10 animals, 7 are insects. So such a huge amount of insects are there in the nature. Back to first year, where we have come across this meaning, phylum Arthropoda is one of the biggest phylum among animal diversity. Class Insecta is one of the biggest class. Okay. So now followed by that, you have to take care of the fungal population. So fungal population is also quite more. Fungal population is also quite more. It is more than the combined species of, it is more than the combined species of amphibians, more than the combined species of amphibians, reptiles, fishes and mammals. Korean? The fungal population is quite more. It is more than the combined number of amphibians, reptiles, fishes and mammals. But taxonomists have not given the correct estimation about prokaryotes, or they are not sure about microbial activity, because many microbes cannot be cultured in the laboratories. Look over this number carefully. Out of this 7 million, 70% are animals,
22% are plants. Still 8% are waiting for you to discover. Still 7% of the species are waiting for you to discover. Fungal population is quite more, or it is more than that of the combined population of amphibians, reptiles, fishes, mammals. But taxonomists are not sure regarding the microbial diversity. They are not sure about the microbial diversity because many microorganisms are not cultured in the laboratories. Many microorganisms are not cultured in the laboratories. So don't worry, I will repeat the matter once again. So dear students, this chapter is not so interesting, but even though you have to take care of all the explanations, you have to remember numbers. Right? Now look over. According to International Union for the Conservation of the Nature and Natural Resources, according to International Union for the Conservation of the Nature and Natural Resources 2004, the plants and animal species so far described is slightly more than 1.5 millions. It is slightly more than 1.5 millions. Later, according to conservative and the scientific study made by Robert May, global species diversity is 7 millions. It is 7 millions. Among that, 70% are animals and 22% are plants. That plant community includes algae, fungi, bryophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. Okay? Among these animals, 70% are insects, or it constitute 7 out of 10 animals. Okay? It constitute 7 out of 10 animals. So, class Insecta is one of the biggest class under phylum Arthropoda. Fungal population is quite more. It is more than the combined species of amphibians, reptiles, fishes and mammals. But what we have discussed will not give any information regarding prokaryotes. Pro means primitive, karyon means nucleus. In prokaryotes, nucleus is not well developed. You know already, our taxonomists are not sure about microbial diversity because many microbes cannot be cultured easily in the laboratories. They cannot be cultured in the laboratories. But dear students, you have to take care of these pictures. Already I given one enlarged picture. You have to go through the NCERT carefully. Among invertebrates, insect population is more. So you have to take care of all other labelings, molluscans, crustaceans and other animal group. Under vertebrates, fishes population is more in number when comparing with amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals. Among the plants, fungal population is more, followed by that is angiosperms or flowering plants or higher plants. Dear students, take care of these pictures, what they are given in the new NCERT book. You know, animals with backbone are called as vertebrates. Animals without backbone are called as invertebrates. In invertebrates, insect population is more. You have to take care of other labelings like molluscans, crustaceans and other animal group. In vertebrates, fishes population is more when comparing with amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals. In plants, fungal population is quite more, okay, or it is very high when comparing with others like algae, lichens or lichens, angiosperms, ferns, you know, it will come under pteridophytes, mosses will come under bryophytes. Okay, next is concerned with India. So, dear students, biodiversity profile of India. Biodiversity profile of India. India has been identified as top 12 mega diversity countries in the world. India has been identified as top 12 mega diversity countries in the world. It is having a small land area of 2.4%. It is having a small land area of 2.4% with a species richness of 8.1%. Look over here, dear students. Now you have to study biodiversity profile of India. India has been identified as one of the top 12. It is identified as a top 12 mega diversity country in the world. Top 12 mega diversity country in the world. It is having a land area of 2.4%. It is having a land area of 2.4% with the species richness of 8.1%. Species richness of 8.1%. 45,000 species of plants are there. 45,000 species of plants are there, double the number of animals. 45,000 species of plants are there, double the number of animals. But according to Robert May global estimates, according to Robert May global estimates, the plants and animals are the species so far discovered is only 22%. According to Robert May global estimates, the species of plants and animals so far discovered is only 22%. More than 1 lakh species of plants and 3 lakh species of animals are waiting for you to discover. According to Robert May global estimates, the plants and animals so far described is only 22%. So far discovered is only 22%. But still many are waiting for you to discover. More than 1 lakh plants are there. More than 3 lakh species of animals are waiting for you to discover. So that ends biodiversity profile of India. You have to take care of these numbers. Okay? You have to remember number because that will play a significant role in your KCET and NEET examination.